So I've been invited here to speak a little bit about my personal spiritual journey and what I believe. So my background is that I was raised Unitarian Universalist. I was born in the Raleigh congregation and grew up there. So in terms of spiritual journeys, there hasn't been a lot of journey. I started a UU, I stayed a UU, I'm still a UU. But that isn't to say that my beliefs and my thoughts haven't changed over time. So I did a lot of thinking and contemplation to come to the conclusions of where I am. Those of you who know me will probably not be surprised by that. Oh, by the way, those of you who don't know me, I found my name tag recently, so. And then along the way, I also had the occasional transcendental experience, which was moving, but in the end, didn't actually change me as much as I thought. So my beliefs, in summary, first I want to describe in general what I believe, which is the labels I would put on myself are that I'm a secular humanist and a scientific atheist. And then I want to talk just a little bit about what those mean. So in terms of secular humanism, usually when I'm asked to, well, I should say when people speak of Unitarian Universalism, one of the things people sometimes say is, oh, when you're a UU, you can believe whatever you want. And I don't tend to think that's exactly right. So usually when people ask me what Unitarian Universalism is, I summarize it by saying it's a religion that lets you believe what is acceptable to your own reason and your own conscience. And so when I think of secular humanism, I tend to think of it as being a belief that people, when they apply their own reason and their own conscience and empathy, can reach a set of beliefs and ethical beliefs and spiritual beliefs that let them lead a good life. So that's kind of how I define secular humanism. I'm also a scientific atheist. I put the word scientific in there, both because I do believe in the scientific endeavor as being one of the best ways to find knowledge in the world, but also to say that, I don't really believe in the supernatural, but if presented with compelling evidence, I would change my belief. That said, the greater the claim, the greater the evidence is necessary to back it up. And the older I get, the less likely, or the less I believe that I'm likely to come across that evidence. So, not having seen it so far. Usually when I describe my atheism, the way I tend to say it is that I don't really believe in any kind of great spiritual force or guiding thing. I don't really believe in anything larger than myself that's not made of people. I do believe in things larger than myself that are made of people. I believe in all of you as a congregation and as a community. So I really actually have two big things that I would say I believe in that are made of people that have a big impact on my life. And one of them is Unitarian Universalism. I feel like, unlike some UUs, I really believe in Unitarian Universalism. I think that sometimes UUs regard a UU congregation as a place to go for a bunch of people who aren't quite that good with Christian theology to all sit around and not be that good with Christian theology together and not have to worry that anyone's going to proselytize to them. And it is that, but it's not just that. I think Unitarian Universalism has a radical message of tolerance and acceptance that is unique and that is something that the world needs. So in that sense, I believe in Unitarian Universalism. So the second thing that I believe in, which may come as a surprise to some of you who don't know me that well, is hip hop. It's the poetry of the masses with a power to create change in a way that I haven't ever seen in any other movement. It's something that's spoken to me ever since I was very young, and that I'm proud to count myself as a part of. So, I also have one other belief that I want to talk about. And this belief is not in any subgroup of people. It's perhaps to some extent a belief in humanity as a whole. And it's also, as I said earlier, I believe people should use their reason in forming their beliefs, And this is a belief that I can't really justify rationally. It's a belief that if I look at all the evidence, I don't know, maybe it doesn't really work. I can't convince myself of its truth, and yet I believe it anyway. And I believe this, I think, because it's good for me to believe it, and I think I make better decisions because I believe it. And for those of you who heard me give a "This I Believe" speech once long ago, this is the rerun. So if anyone remembers from 10 years ago, we're sorry not to bore you, but we're doing it again, which is that I believe in the idea that there is enough. So we're in a time where people promote a lot of fear, a lot of idea that there's not enough to go around, that if this group is going to have this, that you can't have it too. And I don't believe that. I think that there is enough. So I think that there is enough love, that someone else's loving relationships don't have any bearing on my loving relationships. I think that there is enough justice, that if we give someone else justice, if we free them from oppression, that doesn't mean that oppression has to be visited on me or that I can't have justice. I believe there's enough time. I think sometimes we act as though we as a society, as a species, are running out of time, when actually we're going to be here collectively for a very, very long time in some form, and we should probably plan for that. And I think even that there's enough food and water. If we divide it fairly and we don't hoard it and we don't waste it, that there's enough of these things to go around. And there's even enough energy that we can have the things we need and even be able to create wonderful things without cooking the planet in the process, if we choose to. So basically what I believe in is I kind of believe in the win-win, that we do as a species have an ability to engineer and compromise and empathize and use science to discover new things in order to find ways to make there be enough for what everyone needs. So, and that's what I believe.